Patrick, we're here at the American Numismatic Association show. How is this convention going?
It's going good. I think there's been a ton of wholesale trading. Dealers are doing a lot of business with each other. The public is a little bit light at the moment compared to maybe a typical A&A show. Obviously, with the first one, in 2 years. But everything that I've heard, the dealer business has been really robust. The demand is still very high. Dealers need coins. Inventories are low. And of course, since the auctions are next week, which has never happened before, dealers have even more time to trade with each other because they don't have to do as much auction prep because the sales are next week. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic, I think, because, are the dealers' inventories going to be filled by the time the auctions come around? So it's going to be an interesting market dynamic to see the demand and the auction being 1 week later and not at the show. So I think that's kind of an interesting observation that we can have next week.
There's a lot of talk of potential inflation coming because of all the spending from the COVID bailout. What has the indications in coin prices been?
Well, there's certainly been asset price inflation that has boosted all collectibles across the board, coins, paper money, sports cards, comics, art. And so that's lifted everything. But I think long term, really the value and the price is driven by just people wanting to collect. I mean, inflation is a thing, but I think that's sometimes over projected in our market. Obviously, precious metals prices are very important to our market, and those will continue to be strong. I don't think they're gonna, although we've had the dip in gold recently, has come back very strong. But no, long term, I think coins are going to continue to be in demand because the market's growing. People don't think that, but there's more collectors coming in, and there's always going to be demand for the best material, always.
You also publish the Greensheet or the currency newsletter. What is the market like in paper money?
I think it's the same. It's growing. There's a lot more crossover. I think there's a lot of, traditionally someone collected coins or they collected currency. There was not a lot of mixing. But now I believe that there's collectors at a certain level that want the best of both. So if you have some really rare coins, you want to match those with some very scarce early American paper money. And that has really driven the price of rare items. High denomination notes are always popular. And I think, ironically, as currency becomes less prevalent in everyday use, people are going to want to collect it even more. You don't see, that's why the high denominations are so popular. Most people alive today have never seen a $5,000 or $1,000 bill in circulation, and they want it. So I think currency is just going to get more and more and more popular.
You've made some inroads with World banknotes. What has your progress been with that?
Well, it's been fantastic. I heard from a well-known currency dealer that he thinks that the world paper money market is 50 times that of the United States currency market. And the United States currency market is already pretty big. So if you think 50 times that, you're talking multiple billions of dollars in potential market cap of collectors of world paper money around the world. So CDN has recently acquired the banknote book, which is a very awesome catalog that was produced by an individual named Owen Linsmeyer that he's been working on for more than 10 years. Actually just recently celebrated his 10th anniversary of having it, and he's cataloging every note in existence by country. So just like kind of the traditional Krause book, but much more in depth. And so right now we have just under 299 individual chapters that if you subscribe, you can access. And each chapter is a country or an issuing authority, whether it's an old, previous country that no longer exists or a country that still does. And it's the notes from start to finish. So the earliest notes all the way to the most modern, including the newest issues, with values, with images, with descriptions. And so if you're a paper money collector, beginning or very advanced, it is the essential tool that you need to track your collection, to inventory your collection, to identify new notes, and to look up values. And so the most exciting thing that we're doing is it's always existed just in PDF format, no physical copies. We're in the process of converting the PDFs to a database format where it'll be accessible on our website, on a phone, on your app, and hopefully eventually giving it to other companies to use as their cataloging system. So you have a very fast lookup. Instead of having to open a PDF and scroll and find the note, you can look on your phone, or you can go on Greysheet.com and log into your account and look up anything and have a very robust search. So if you're looking at, Hong Kong $100, type in Hong Kong $100, it returns all things that match. You can look up a catalog number by date, by denomination, by country. And so it's something we're very excited about because we think it's going to really, number one, bring in more collectors, and number two, the people that are already there really make their collecting experience even better. So it's a tremendous product.
You also have a specialized book on China that's recently debuted.
Yes, right here. And this is actually also made in conjunction with Owen, kind of before we knew that we were going to acquire the company about 3 years ago. So it's actually the same descriptions that you'll find if you look up the China chapter in the banknote book. The only difference is I added updated pricing and expanded pricing. And it's kind of the key selling point for me or for us for this book is that it's the first world paper money book ever that has prices for graded currency. So that's another important aspect, is one of the biggest reasons for growth in world paper money is the aspect of third-party grading, mainly from PMG, has just really expanded the market because now people can trust what they're buying, right? If you want this note and you want to make sure it's uncirculated and you want to choice Gem 65 in a holder, you have it. It's a guarantee. So that's really helped the market, especially for, there's so much buying online, and for years and years, world paper money was kind of what's the word? There's a lot of traps. If you're buying online from sellers, you don't know the grade, you don't know if it's pressed, you don't know if it's restored, especially if you're buying scarce early notes and you're spending significant amounts of money. Now PMG has given you that ability to buy a note from an online auction and say, I trust this note. I know exactly what I'm getting, I know it's authentic, and so the Chinese paper money book prices notes in certified grades. Above, because traditionally it's just one grade for uncirculated. As we know, that's not the market reality. So now we have multiple grades of uncirculated and so on. And there's also a great section in this book about counterfeits, because that's a huge problem, primarily with Asian notes, Chinese notes. There's some very advanced counterfeiting technology out there, and this gives a little bit of insight on how to identify that.
If a person wants to become a participant in the numismatic trade, what's the best way to start?
Read. That's what I would say. It's our business is interesting because there's a lot of ways to get here. Some people get in because their father or mother did it, family, or family business. Some people do it because they were lifelong collectors. Others knew when they were a kid, I'm going to be a coin dealer. We've all gotten here in different ways, but the one commonality is that you really have to educate yourself, and there's unfortunately no degree in numismatics at a university. So it's largely self-taught, and the great thing about that though is there's so many resources. There's traditional books, there's many online resources that the grading services, companies like CDN, other publishers have invested huge amounts of money in that are accessible to all. And so that would be the simple thing, is just read as much as you can and study, and then go experience coins. Go to your local coin shops, go to coin shows, and don't be afraid to look at coins. Even if you're not going to buy, sit at a dealer's case and take your time and look at some coins and be polite and ask questions. And so read and ask questions is what I would say.